Today's guest is Dave Newman of Pint Jigger.
Aloha everyone, thank you for joining us for another episode of Hawaii Leads, where we interview Hawaii's leaders, entrepreneurs, affluent, dominators, and skilled. And before we get started with my next guest, Dave Newman of Pint Jigger, I just want to remind you that we do have a free membership where we get cool stuff to give away for free. And all you need to do is text HLVIP to 58885. That's HLVIP 58885. You'll be giving your name and your email, and we won't be selling your information to a third party, so don't worry about that. But you can have the latest and greatest of what's going on with our guests, and also win cool prizes. And Pint Jigger is giving away
We're going to give away a gift certificate. You can come join us for brunch or dinner and enjoy some drinks and appetizers or one of our famous burgers.
Wow, yeah. So you need to do that. Again, that's HLVIP to 58885. So let's get started. What is the most common question before we go into where you came from and how you got here to Hawaii? What is the most common question that people ask you?
Kind of where the concept of Pint Jigger came from. Everybody always wants to know. It's a very different bar than what you typically find in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. My business partners and I, when we were trying to decide if we wanted to be partners, we all made a list of bars from around the country to see if we were on the same page. Mm-hmm. And there was one bar from Los Angeles that we all happened to write down. And it was called My Father's Office. And they were known...
My Father's Office.
Father's Office. They're known for doing a really great burger and craft beer. Oh. And it has a very similar style, like bricks and dark interior. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to create a bar that made people feel like they left Hawaii for a couple hours.
And it does.
So there's no poke. There's no rice dishes.
Yeah.
There's no loco moco.
Uh-huh.
But we wanted you to have an experience that was a little bit different than what you'd find everywhere else.
And I have to say that's true because my boyfriend Mark took me here about 3 weeks ago, wasn't it, Dave? When I met you for the first time. And he was actually taken here by his friend early on. And he goes, you want to go to someplace and try this Scotch egg?
Yeah.
And I'm like, egg? At a pub? You must be kidding me. We'll get into that later. But yes, as soon as you step through the doors, it's like you're in a whole different world. And
Thanks.
So congratulations, you got the effect that you wanted.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's neat to have an idea in your head and actually have it be able to come to fruition.
Yeah. Exactly. And we want to know where you came from. So obviously you're not here from Hawaii. Where did you get started? What did you do before you got here? And the kind of things that business owners go through as they're looking to bring their idea to fruition. So first of all, where did you originate? I
was born just outside of proper downtown Los Angeles, an area called Van Nuys.
Oh, Van Nuys. Uh-huh. So you're West Coast.
Yeah, West Coast boy.
Mm-hmm.
People think I have an East Coast accent, but I'm actually from LA.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up out there, ended up going to college in Santa Barbara. Mm-hmm. Bounced around a lot, lived in Spain, Honduras, Colorado, San Francisco.
What brought you to places like Spain and Honduras?
I went to college in Santa Barbara, and everybody told me that was going to be the best time of my life. I was like, refused to believe that. So I was like, what would be better than going to college in Santa Barbara? I'm going to move to Spain.
You moved to Spain?
So I moved to Spain, studied language, and lived there for a little more than a year.
Wow.
It was amazing. And
what did you do while you were out in Spain?
I worked in a little bar.
So that's how you got started?
That's how I started before that.
Oh.
I started when I was a little bit underage. I was working for a catering company, and the bartender had actually had a car accident on the way to an event.
Oh, no.
And he was all right, but he couldn't make it to the event. Mm-hmm. So they asked me, or they asked everybody, does anybody know how to bartend? And I just lied. I was like, me.
You mean you didn't know how to do it?
I had no idea.
You just volunteered?
The first drink was a Cuba Libre. And I'm
That's rum and Coke.
Yeah, see, you know that, but I didn't
Cuba
know
Libre.
that.
I went to Peru and they served Cuba Libre.
I was 19 years old. I didn't know what a Cuba Libre was.
So
the guy's finally is like, oh, it's a rum and Coke with a lime. And I was like, why didn't you just order a rum and Coke with a lime?
Because drinks have names.
Yes, apparently.
So did he show you how to do it, or you just made it up yourself?
I fumbled through the shift, and the owner of the catering company was like, you don't know how to bartend. I was like, no.
Oh my goodness. But that didn't discourage
But that
you.
sparked the interest for me. I really enjoyed that time, even though I didn't know what I was doing, and then I just wanted to learn.
Wow. And today they call it mixologist?
Sometimes, yeah.
What's the difference between a mixologist and a bartender, or is that the same thing?
It's really the same thing. Bartenders don't usually call themselves mixologists. It's more of a term that the industry has come up with. And the way I take it to mean is just somebody who's going to put a little bit of extra time and care into learning and presenting cocktails.
And it's kind of like a trendy terminology.
Yeah, it's very trendy. I mean, you'll see it on any advertisement for a bartender or a bar event. It'll be like, famous mixologist.
Yeah.
So, but typically, I don't know of many bartenders who refer to themselves as mixologists.
Okay, so you went to Spain and then you went to
Honduras.
And now, what did you do there?
I got this crazy idea that I wanted to become a scuba instructor. So I moved to Honduras, and I became a scuba instructor.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
And how long did that last?
That was about a year as well. So it was about 6 months of training, and then I stayed down there for about a year after that, and then made my way back to California.
But this tourist industry in Honduras, they do a lot of scuba diving. Is that why?
It's one of those kind of backpacker destinations. The second cheapest place in the world to learn how to scuba dive.
Is Honduras.
And it's just a big party place. I live on an island called Utila, and it's a lot of English-speaking people, which is kind of a shame, but because I was hoping to go down there and continue learning.
Spanish.
Yeah.
Right.
But
and the dialect there, because every
Exactly.
country has a different dialect in Spanish.
Yeah. But lobster dinner was $3.
Oh, everybody
Yeah.
go to Honduras.
Yeah.
Increase their tourism. No, stay here and
Stay
spend the
here.
money Yeah.
Get lobster here for $3.
So how old were you at that point in Honduras?
I was 26, 27.
And then you made your way back to the West Coast?
Back to the West Coast, and then really got into the bartending scene, and then bounced around the United States bartending a little bit. So I don't tell anybody, but I used to work for the Cheesecake Factory.
Oh, he's a chain guy.
So they used to send me around the country to train bartenders at new store openings. So they'd send me to Boulder when the new store opened, and I'd spend 8 weeks there, train the bartenders, and then move on to Mission Viejo, and then move on to Dallas. And it was a lot of fun.
But in order to do that, I know my younger sister went to school for that. Did you do that and get certified? Is there a certification as a bartender?
I didn't go to school. I wanted to become a bartender, and I asked some people, and they're like, well, they just teach you to pour with colored water. So you're not actually learning the proper way to make a drink. So I was working at an Italian restaurant. It was a smaller chain that actually started up in wine country in Yountville, but I was working in Los Angeles. And I just begged the bartender every day. I was like, teach me how to bartend, teach me. And he's like, you're so annoying, I don't even like you.
Annoying.
And then after 2 months of me asking, he's like, if you shut up and leave me alone, I'll teach you 1 drink a day.
Wow.
So he taught me 1 drink a day, and I was incredibly fortunate because he had been bartending for 37 years.
Wow, so you were actually learning from a master.
Yeah, so I was learning. I had a great mentor. Fortunately, he's no longer with us. So I cheers to him every year on his birthday. He set me up in an amazing career that's provided me with a lot of really amazing experiences. But the one thing that was really cool that he taught me was he taught me the standard recipe for a drink. So he's like, this is how you make a margarita. This much tequila, this much triple sec. And then he's like, make it that way, but then every time you make it with just like 1/8 of an ounce or 1/4 of an ounce different in one of the ingredients, and then put a straw in it and taste it.
Oh, with a straw.
And then when you come up with the recipe that you like the best, always make it that way. So that way, when you serve your guests, you're presenting the best cocktail that
And
you can possibly make.
You know exactly what they're going to experience as far as the taste and
It
everything.
did 2 things. It developed my palate really, really well and gave me a big library of cocktails.
So when you went to the West Coast, what brought you to Hawaii?
So when I was really little, I got sponsored bodyboarding. And I came to Hawaii to experience...
As a bodyboarder?
Yeah.
Wow. So you actually came to Hawaii early on and you wanted to return, obviously.
I fell in love with it. The culture is so amazing. The people are amazing. The weather's decent. And the waves are pretty good. And so I always wanted to come back, and I found myself working for Nobu in Malibu.
Oh, in that Malibu.
Yeah, I was living in Venice Beach, and I would drive into Nobu and work
As a bartender.
as a bartender. And they said they were going to open a location in Waikiki.
Right, and they just moved. In fact, they moved from that little boutique hotel.
Moved from the Park
because
Hotel.
They're redoing
Yeah,
redoing
the
it
Park
right
Hotel's
now.
redoing it.
And now they're located in the Howard Hughes area.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
The restaurant's really beautiful in Kakako.
My daughter's favorite place. She's got expensive
taste.
So how long did you stay at Nobu's?
So I worked there for about 2.5 years in Malibu, and I worked 5 years here.
So they had an opening here, and you took the
Came out with the opening team and opened the restaurant, and then became the bar manager after about a year, and then ran that beverage program for 4.5 years.
So what sparked that entrepreneurship in you? You've been a bartender in all these different establishments and everything. Did you always want to have your own bar? Is that what your dream was, or just one day you said, I don't want to work for anybody else?
No, I think for a lot of bartenders, that's the end goal, is if you can ever possibly have your own bar. And I ended up getting the opportunity through a relationship that I had made at Nobu, where I met my partners. I was actually trying to decide if I was going to buy a condo or open a bar. I had saved up a bunch of money, and I was like, interest rates are really low.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy a condo. And my friend had trouble getting her mortgage done. And then she found an old friend of hers, and he's like, he got it done like that. And I was asked, who did that? And she's like, oh, Darren Aguino. Does he sell real estate? He's like, absolutely he does. Put me in contact. About 3 times going out looking for a condo, he's like, I looked you up on the internet. You're a pretty well-known bar guy around town. I see that you're the president of the Bartenders Guild, and I'm going to open a bar.
The real estate
Yeah.
guy?
And I'm like, everybody tells me they're going to open a bar, so I don't pay it much mind. So
Yeah.
I said, oh, that's great. If you need some help, I'll do any consulting for you for free, because you're going to help me find a house.
Cool.
So Darren convinces me to not buy a condo, to stretch my budget incredibly, and to buy a single-family home in Palolo.
So a real estate guy discourages you from buying a condo from him.
Because he would sell me a house
that
I can't afford.
Okay. So, but instead,
When I closed on the house, he took a portion of his commission and put it towards my mortgage.
I see. Okay.
And I was like, wow, this gentleman that I've only met a handful of times, he must be really serious about opening a bar. And now he's my business partner.
Okay, so that's a great story. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your partners.
So that's how I met Darren. He introduced me to his wife, said that they were going to open a bar. And then he said, I have this high school friend that we always talked about opening a restaurant together. And her name's Grace Simon. So I met her and her husband, Hideo. And it became this magic little grouping. Darren was really good on the real estate side, so he did all the demographics work on the neighborhood. Hideo and Grace flipped a lot of properties. Wow. So
That's a great team you have right there.
And so we did all the build out, most of the build out on Pint Jigger ourselves. Hideo did the lion's share of the work, and then I brought the bar skills to the table.
Right.
And then actually Grace, when we first opened, was our opening general manager. She had a lot of restaurant experience.
So she had the business side of it down.
Yeah.
You had the bartender side of it. They had the location. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty fortuitous. It probably, looking back on it, or even at the time, wasn't the most sound business decision. Like, let me buy a house I can't afford, and then go into a business with like a 97% failure rate. It's crazy.
Think I interviewed Hide of Shokudo, and he said that sometimes 6 months and they're gone.
It's crazy to open a restaurant or anything and not last 6 months. I don't know if that's poor planning of not having enough working capital or unforeseen events.
But then you had a great team. You had all that in place, so that's really good.
Absolutely, and people ask me all the time, like, if you could do one thing as far as giving advice for starting a business or a restaurant or bar, find amazing partners that you can trust. And that relationship was already established with Darren within meeting him very few times.
That's great. That's great.
And just his reputation in the community, his company, Smart Money, has an amazing reputation for real estate and mortgages. So to link up with him, and then he vouched for Grace and Hideo, who turned out to be amazing partners.
So again, your advice would to be get together with people that you get along with, obviously, because this is not an easy thing to do. You're going to be tight for who knows how long, right? So you got to get along. and you have to have the knowledge of, I guess, 3 different things: the restaurant business side of it, location,
So true.
and of course staffing, and all that stuff that. Oh yeah, and the talent of, if you're going to order, have a pub, of course you got to have a good bartender
And a good chef.
and a good chef. Which, let's mention him because I don't want to butcher his last name.
His name is Corey Kasparovich.
Kasparovich?
And he's a wizard back there. We're blessed to have him, and creates a lot of amazing food specials. I mean, you mentioned the Scotch egg, and
Yes, the Scotch egg. My boyfriend Mark, he took me here for the first time.
For an egg.
For an egg.
For an
and I'm
egg.
like, okay, this is nighttime. This is dinner. Why are you going to feed me eggs? And even when the plate came, to be honest, I'm like, I'm supposed to eat
that.
this.
That's-
A boiled egg surrounded by whatever this is in this brown encasement. And I'm like, He goes, no, trust me, try it. And once I tasted it, it was amazing.
Thank you.
And that's the Scotch. That's how
That's
they
the Scotch egg.
But in Scotland.
In Scotland, a lot of times they'll do like a regular sausage. We wanted to put our spin on that, so chef came up with the idea of wrapping it in pork rillette, which would be like pulled pork, and if you scraped it really fine,
But it's got that crispy.
and then it's panko crusted,
Oh gosh.
and then deep fried.
It was so good. And then of course it's 1 egg in half, and then you plate it with what now?
It's a little cucumber salad with some parsley
that
oil.
was good. I love the cucumber salad. All of it just fit together.
Thank you.
And then you told us about that smoked Manhattan.
Yeah.
And there's a video if you want to look up Dave Newman. He does he shows you how you make it.
Yeah, you
take
can make it at
mesquite-
home if you have a
Yeah,
torch.
you need a mesquite chips, and that's the same as kiabi here in Hawaii. And just go to YouTube and look for Dave Newman's name, and you'll see how he makes the smoked Manhattan. But it's so good. It's got whiskey, vermouth, orange bitters, and what's the other bitters?
Angostura bitters.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stirring, and there's a
lot of stirring.
a torch, and there's chips, and there's capturing the smoke, putting in a big block of ice, and just, I don't know, but it's good.
Thank you.
I like a
Thank
good
you.
cocktail.
It,
Yeah,
it tastes like you're sitting next to a campfire.
it does. But then
So-
you can feel it going, just, you feel so relaxed, and then you enjoy all the food here that goes with it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you for coming to our table
Oh,
and introducing yourself,
absolutely.
and then
It's a
having
pleasure.
us try some things. And your staff here, they're all very friendly, which is really, really important
Yeah.
to make it here. It's a relationship.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely something that we take a lot of pride in. We focus on. It's just showing great hospitality, and we're so blessed to be able to open a restaurant in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
That's the very least we can do is be thankful for the people that come support.
And you've been here since 2012.
12.
2012.
We hit our 5-year anniversary. We had a really
Yeah.
fun party.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a Studio 54. If you came dressed up in disco, we did all your drinks for half
the
price.
disco.
A lot of afros.
Yeah. So 2012. Tell me, how was the opening? Did you find any big challenges? Was it taking off like you wanted to in the beginning, or was there kind of like start stops? Or tell us your experience about the first year in 2012.
Prior to opening was difficult. Like I said, we did most of the work on this place ourselves. Hideo did the majority of it. But it was I was still working at Nobu.
Oh, so you still
So
working?
I would finish my shift and come here and put in a couple hours, wake up early, come put a couple hours and go back to Nobu. Hideo was here the whole time. And so like a lot of the equipment, sourcing, and just getting different things that weren't readily available in Hawaii proved to be challenging. I had run an industry night at Nobu for 5 years, and we did Sunday night at 10 p.m. So normal, regular people didn't know about it. So it was really industry focused. And the amount of people that came through, we had a DJ, we had the sushi chef come up and make discounted sushi, and then we did half price drinks.
At
So
10 p.m.
At 10 p.m. So Nobu's drinks are normally like $14 a piece.
Nobu's is so good.
Yeah.
But it's pricey.
But if you can go there and get a drink for $7,
Oh, yeah.
it was great. So the amount of industry that came through over the 5 years was incredible. And when we opened, they all wanted to come support. They'd see me come up through the ranks.
That's great.
And the great thing about industry people is they love social media. So through the front door, tweeting, Instagramming, Facebooking.
And that's really essential nowadays in marketing. I interned for a production company where we did the typical from beginning to end production of a commercial. It takes lots of time, lots of money. With social media, it's instantaneous. You get the real deal. You get the authenticity of a person. Commercials are great, but it's mostly polished and people like can't relate.
Right.
But when you do it, like we were talking about, why are reality shows so popular? Is because you can relate to them.
Yeah.
They're just real people like everybody else.
And there's something really cool of getting that actual glimpse of
Behind the
real
scenes.
people.
Yeah.
Like it's not somebody acting, I hope.
Right. So one of the reasons I wanted to do this show is that there's a lot of people, they work hard for their money 9 to 5, and then they go to establishments like yours, whether it be retail or restaurant, whatever it is, and they see this whole finished product, like wow. But they rarely understand what it takes and how it started and the challenges. And sometimes you go and think to yourself, like I was interviewing Hide's, like when he was thinking about Buho, it's like, what was I thinking? Oh my goodness, why am I going to do this again and again? Because he's got 3 establishments.
It's so impressive. He's such a good guy too.
Yeah, he has nothing but good to say about everybody. And so,
people.
and it sounds like you do the same too. Relationships are really important in business.
Absolutely.
And tell me about your customers when they come here for the first time, like me. What is their reaction? Because, like you said, you're put into a whole different. Like you're not in Hawaii at all. Like you could be at what is that? That sitcom from years ago.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's perfect. Everybody gets to be Norm.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're incredibly blessed. We have a really diverse crowd. So we get, people who are just starting to drink when they're 21 and 65, 70-year-olds, the whole range. We're about 90% local.
Wow, that's good.
So we've gotten some press. We're getting a little bit more Japanese clientele and some people coming in that are looking for cocktail bars. But the majority of our business is regulars and local people, which is awesome because we get to know our guests really well. And I shouldn't even call them guests. They're our friends.
Yeah.
It's incredible. People eat here 3 times a week, which that just wasn't a thought in my head that would happen because I'm like, we're a bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it does.
But it's a place to go, like Cheers.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to go there and just hang.
And so now when we do our, our barbecues, all the regulars show up. They're really just friends. It's awesome.
Talk about that. I wanted to ask you, like, do you have special events or something regular that happens that's different outside? Like, Hide said he does Taco Tuesdays for Buho. Do you do something like that regularly on a weekly basis? We don't have like a set regular special event. We do a lot of individual events. So you just mentioned Taco Tuesday. This coming Tuesday, we're doing a fundraiser for Harvey, for the survivors of Harvey. El Silencio Mezcal is going to come down, the rep from there. All the cocktails that we sell made with that, 100% of that is going to go to the Houston Food Bank. And we're also, my chef's doing Texas-style tacos. We're going to donate that money as well. Yeah, we're going to put a timeline on that. We are now recording, and it is September 8th on a Friday on 2017.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
that'll be the 12th.
That'll be
Tuesday the 12th.
Yeah, by the time people see that's something that already happened. But that's great. So you take something like that, make it good, raise funds, and all that type
drink
of
for
thing.
a cause.
Yeah, drink for a cause. Who doesn't want to do that?
But yeah, we're constantly getting involved with as many special events as we can. We do a lot with the beer. New breweries come to Hawaii, and we'll do like a tap takeover. They'll do 6 or 7, 8, 10 beers from that brewery as an introduction to Hawaii. I have the Hawaii Food and Wine events coming up at the beginning of November. It's a huge event.
Yeah.
So good for Hawaii. We get to showcase local ingredients. Some of the best chefs from around the country are coming.
I don't know if you can see if it's, but it's going to be November 2017. And where's this located?
There's events all over. Go online, check out their website. But the opening events at the Modern, there's events at the Convention Center out at Aulani, Kahala.
This is an annual event.
Yeah,
right?
I think this is year 8, and it's Alan Wong and Roy, the huge sponsors, and it's one of the best events just because we get to showcase what Hawaii has to offer.
That's great. And Pint Jigger is doing good now. Do you see an increase?
It's been good. I mean, we can't complain. We've been busy. So
lots of word of mouth.
Lots of word of mouth. We've gotten we're very fortunate to get some really nice recognition. So it's Playboy said we're one of the top 5 bars in the country to celebrate Repeal Day.
Yeah, Repeal Day.
It's December 5th. It's the day that they repealed prohibition, so it allowed people to start drinking again. So it's bartender's favorite day. We won Hawaii's Best Burger. We've won some Hawaiian awards. It's been amazing.
That's great. And going on Prohibition, you have a new venue that you're going to do. We did a little bit of Facebook Live, took a tour back there, but you're not quite ready to open yet. But tell us a little bit about this new venue that's right off of Pint Jigger.
So we're opening a space adjacent to us called Harry's Hardware Emporium. It is a speakeasy style bar designed to look like 1925 Chicago or New Orleans in a hotel bar, and then have the feel of a cigar lounge without the smoke. And for us, it's just an opportunity to take the level of cocktails one step higher in Hawaii.
And
So-
it's the only one here in Hawaii, or do you know of others that have?
There's similar style bars. I know there's a highbrow room that my friend Brad Miller runs. It's in above Aloha Beer. I don't know if it's a speakeasy per se, but it has that feel. The room is great, and he's amazing. So that's that. And then I heard they're about to open one in Kailua.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
it's
and
it's
you're-
trending.
Yeah, you're on top of the trend. Then what are you going to be serving there in that bar that's different from this bar in Pint and Jigger?
So all of the cocktails will be different. The food menu is totally different. We'll be featuring charcuterie, oysters, the cocktail. I'm really excited to unveil what we're going to be doing over there, but I don't want to tell you everything. It's
Yeah.
kind of secret.
It's
But
going to be a
but
surprise.
I'm building a cocktail cart. We're going to be doing tableside cocktails.
Wow.
We have a lot of barrel aged cocktails. Some stuff that I've been actually barrel aged for 2 years, which is just crazy.
Yeah.
So we have a really fun drink menu, and I'm very excited to share that with everybody.
And what I like about it is that when you enter, you're going to go through a door. When you go inside, it looks like a bookcase with real books.
Yeah, it's
It's like a secret entry.
so a lot of the speakeasies make the secret entrance from the outside. It looks like a phone booth or a barber shop, and then what we wanted was once you were in the room to hide the door, so you just feel like you're immersed in this environment.
Right. Like, I know, like you're in a parlor.
Yes.
Parlor with the flappers and what kind of music you think?
Yeah, it's going to all be period music. So a lot of jazz, a lot of blues. And then we'll probably throw in some stuff that's not period, because I really feel like Rat Pack would work really well in there. I could listen to Sinatra
So
in there.
Sinatra,
Yeah.
and that'll be really great. But what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's looking to open a business, particularly what you have a bartending plus restaurant? What would you say would be the first thing they should do?
Ooh, like I said, you got to get great partners.
Okay.
Have more working capital than you think you need. You don't want to be one of those statistics that only lasts 6 months. And for some of these people, it may just be, one more month's rent, and they could have made it. They could have turned that
Right.
corner.
Right.
And then focus on your social media. It doesn't cost you anything.
It doesn't.
And it's an incredible tool that people didn't have 10 years ago.
Right.
And I think kind of learning how to capture that and take advantage of it is incredibly important.
Now, do you have a separate department or someone who takes care of that for you, a social media person specifically?
We kind of do that by committee. There's a few of us that get involved. I do a lot. I have one of our rock star bartenders, Jessica Cruciana, helps out, and then my GM, Courtney Carruthers. So between the three of us, we try to tackle it together.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah.
Twitter, and all those types of things.
Yeah, but maintaining a constant presence it's actually a lot of work. So we
It is.
divide it up.
It is. You have to take a break, and then because you want to answer questions if somebody sends you a message, and you don't want to wait too long to answer their
Exactly.
or whatever. Another thing is, if you're a reader, what kind of books would you recommend to someone looking into business or self-improvement, like a positive mental attitude book or anything to do with business?
Ooh, that's a good question. I read voraciously. Clearly, a lot of the books that I read are bartending based, but a business side, I really like reading books, biographies, autobiographies about people who have done really, really well,
Yeah.
and depending what field they are, because I think it all can relate to what I'm doing.
Exactly.
There's a book by John Hammer that was really amazing that I read. I've loved to read books like for the founders of Google or
oh wow, yeah.
Oracle. Read a few really good ones. And the bartending books, I'm actually working on one, so when that comes out
Wow.
eventually,
Okay, yeah.
we'll have
That'd
to
be great.
let you know about that, but that's super hush-hush.
Okay.
And then there's a couple really good bar books. Jeffrey Morgenthaler did a really great book called The Bar. David Wondrich has an awesome book called Imbibe. Those are going to be a lot like the Morgenthaler book is a lot about business and how to do things.
That's good. That's
the
good.
Imbibe book's more recipes and history. But those are two of my favorites.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Also, do you practice visualization? Like I asked some of my guests, they have the idea pop into their head and they hold that vision until it comes to fruition. Is that something you had in your mind, like while you're alone, you're just daydreaming, but not really, you're thinking about what you want?
Definitely. So I have two versions of that. No matter what we do when we're in this industry, we always have to be smiling and have a good attitude. And it can be incredibly hard. You could have something terrible happen that day. Your dog could have died, or a relative sick, or you got a speeding ticket. But to put all that aside and make sure that your guests have a really amazing experience. So I started every day before I come into work, I take one walk around the bar. And around the block. And then I come back in and I use that time to just visualize giving great hospitality, making great drinks.
Wow.
And so I do that before my shifts just to put me in a good frame of mind.
Right.
And it's, sometimes guests can help take you out of that frame of mind.
Yeah.
But we have, like I said, we go in the back, we take a minute and come back out. But as far as the business side goes, I do that all the time. I like to find a quiet place. For me, I love the outdoors, love the beach still. So I'll find myself in the park or at the beach, and I'll just take a few minutes where I just am really focusing on what the vision I want to bring to fruition is.
Now let me ask you this: your speakeasy, was that part of something that came up while you're meditating, or how did that come about?
So this was through my partners, Hideo and Grace and Darren, Nikki. It was something we all talked about together, and it was an idea actually from my past that I had worked on that never came to fruition.
It wasn't the right time, probably.
No. All right, I'll share this story. So I planned on opening this style of bar nearly about 17 years ago in downtown Los Angeles.
Wow.
And I was driving to sign what was going to be our lease, and my business partner called me and let me know that he and my girlfriend had gotten together.
Oh, dang. And you were ready to sign the lease, and he was going to be your partner?
So I pulled over on the side of the 405 freeway.
And you said, forget that.
And I was like, do I still do it? I don't think I can be this guy's partner. I'm really glad he let me know before we signed the lease. And so I've been sitting on that idea for almost 2 decades.
Wow.
So it's something that's always been in the back of my mind.
So 17 years, that would be 2000, the year 2000.
It's crazy.
Wow. But you know what? That probably was good because you had 9/11, you had the crash in 2008, you had all those. Plus, you had to hone in your skills.
Yeah, I don't think I was ready to open that bar then, but
so that was a saving grace, actually.
He did me a favor.
That's good. I love that story. Wow, thank you for sharing. I love it. And and people think. Here's the thing. People have an idea and they think just because it didn't come to fruition, they're a failure, or why isn't it happening now? Sometimes there's a lot of great reasons why, and you're actually being protected.
Absolutely.
From making something that could possibly be a nightmare or a big, huge learning lesson that you don't want to have. Because we already got those. We got lots of learning lessons.
Lots of lessons.
But those kind of major ones, better not to make them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the name Harry's. My great-great-great-grandpa owned a liquor store in Erie, Pennsylvania. It was Harry Newman. Harry Newman. So Harry's, and then we had to come up with a facade for the outside.
Right.
So Harry's Hardware Emporium.
With the little cans of paint.
And
where you hang your tools.
Yeah.
And
if you actually look from the outside, we built a whole facade of a fake hardware store.
Oh, cool. I can't wait till the opening. That's going to be exciting. If you could do it all over again, what do you think you'd be doing differently before Pint Jigger, like when you started it?
I wouldn't change anything major. I would have pushed a little bit harder in lease negotiations to get a longer lease and better extension, but we had no idea that it was going to be a successful business, and so it was. We were as surprised as anybody how busy it was. So it would be really nice to at this point have that extra 5-year option.
So a lease negotiation.
Yeah, I think. I looked at it as a learning experience.
Yeah.
like I said, I was either going to buy a place or open a bar. I ended up buying a place and opening a bar. The amount of money that I put up front was what I think I would have spent like going back and getting my master's in business. But I just looked at that as a education.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot, and that would be one thing that I would definitely have put a little bit more focus on. Is
And I
just,
think that'd be a great tip for others. And at the same time, you don't have a crystal ball.
No.
You don't know. You don't want to sign into a long lease and then something happens and you got to break the lease.
yeah, especially for first businesses, everybody's going to need a personal guarantee on your lease. So now I'm signing my new home up as my personal guarantee if the business doesn't work.
Right.
But it was a good lesson on moving forward. I have a lot of different projects that I'm getting involved with. So
That's great.
I'm taking those lessons and applying them.
Yeah, like everything else.
If you have an idea or a concept and you're passionate about it, keep at it. Keep thinking about it. When you have spare time, work on it. If you do a little bit of work every day, it's going to happen. And surround yourself with good people. Network. Meet more people. Be nice to everybody, and eventually, you can open your own business and be successful. But it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
And just keep working hard.
But if it's your passion, it's like good hard work.
It is.
If it's your passion.
It is. It's so easy to overwork for yourself.
Yeah. Touch on about the Bartenders Association. What is your role in that? What is it there for?
I was the president of the United States Bartenders Guild Hawaii chapter for seven years. We have about 140 members.
Here in Hawaii?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's amazing. It's something I talk to people about all the time now is I don't think people understand how good the community is here. Like, there's some world-class bartenders and establishments here. Justin Park at Bar Leather Apron's a beast. He's out winning, international competitions. Chandra Lucarello, she works for Southern Wine and Spirits. If you've drank around town, you've drank some of her drinks because she creates menus for so many different places. Kyle Rintner works out at Kohana Rum, and now we have this amazing local agricole rum out in Kunia. And it's just, I got to talk about it for 1 second.
Yeah,
so they found the 33 varietals of sugarcane that were endemic to Hawaii before Dole came in and figured out which cane produced the most sugar.
For commercial use.
And so they've been able to get stocks of these and grow the 33 varietals. Exactly. They're heirloom stocks, and they're making single runs of each one.
Wow.
So when you drink that, you get to taste some of Hawaii history. You get to taste the way cane should taste in a rum. It's not made from molasses. It's directly from the sugar pressed from there.
That's amazing.
So they're absolutely amazing. Kyle sometimes used to work here, works occasionally on a guest shift, but he's out there. Maddie Kua from Pig and the Lady, which I love. The restaurant's amazing. A great bartender. There's so many world-class bartenders out here. It's really incredible that Nobu team. They still have really great bartenders. Alicia Yamachika just moved over to Azure, representing the females out here, just crushing it.
And there was just a recent newspaper article, because I saw your Facebook and you were part of it. What was that all about, that newspaper article? It was featuring bartenders that, like you were talking about? Oh, yeah.
It was just like showcasing the local talent. And like I said, it's a really good time to be drinking in Hawaii. There's all these bartenders that you can go and have this amazing experience. I think for a long time we thought, the bars, drinks,
bars.
It's not as good as the ones that we hear about in New York or London or San Francisco, and they actually are, if not better. I mean, Hawaii is really, really blessed.
That's good to know. Just got to know to drink responsibly.
Drink responsibly. Take an Uber. Don't.
Oh, I'm going to ask you, how do you guys handle that when you see somebody who's like super, inebriated and they have a car?
Ooh.
What do you
I mean,
do?
we try to never let it get to that point. I mean, that's definitely part of the responsibility of the bar and the bartender. It happens. You know, people overconsume. It's hard for bartenders if the people are drinking next to their car, they bring a flask, or. But yeah, we really, really push people to be safe and take an Uber. We step in when we need to.
That's good.
We don't have a problem letting people know that they've had too much. We make a really strong cold brew coffee. So we try to get some food in their belly.
We got some of this
Cheers.
going on right now. Some iced coffee, which is Pint Jigger.
But I've gotten through the Bartenders Guild. I've done a lot of we came out with a non-alcoholic cocktail book that we did
nice.
through the Department of Transportation. They sponsored it.
That's nice.
We put those out right before like 4th of July. We pass them out here. We've done a respect campaign, which just talks about, even though you're drinking, you always need to show respect to the women that are in your establishment.
That's good.
And,
That's good.
I think a lot of people get a few drinks in them and they get a little obnoxious, but, working on programs like that to just always try to make drinking fun,
Right.
but responsible.
Exactly. That's really important.
Yeah.
This is what I want the show to be about, is that you get to know the person behind the business, all the challenges, the struggles, but it's such a passion, they don't mind overcoming them,
No.
and then creating some place for us to come. We sit here for, 1 or 2 hours, maybe 1 hour just for a meal and a drink and leave, and we don't realize what was put into that just for you to enjoy that experience. It's crazy.
It's our absolute pleasure. I mean,
It's a
everything
great
that we did,
orchestration.
I take so much pleasure in meeting people and making a drink, putting a smile on somebody's face. It's absolutely why we open a building.
All right. So I just want to thank you for joining again, and we like to shaka out at the end. And those listening to us on iTunes, we say aloha and a hui ho.
Pint Jigger. Enjoy amazing craft beers, original cocktails and savory food. Experience it in our classic social atmosphere. Call 808-744-9593.